Okay, 5 things to get ready before a key session. So for me, key sessions, midweek interval session, which is Wednesday today, and then weekend long run. Simple as that. Just 2 sessions that are your key sessions that help with super compensation. How do you get ready for those? So for me, the most important in any session is to know the day before what I'm doing the next day. So it's the same, exactly the same in business, exactly the same in your work life. I have a to-do list, so I know exactly before I go to bed the night before, I know what I've got to get up and do the next day. So it's more efficient in the morning. There's no kind of fumbling around thinking, what are you going to need to do? You get up and go. So my kit is ready. Today is an indoor treadmill session. The kit is ready, the right shorts for a faster session, the right shoes for a faster session. Super important. And some people like to do the warm up in a different pair of shoes, and then the key session in a faster pair of shoes. For me, I just do it in the same shoes. I guess if you're using super shoes, and there's a big difference in the cadence, or there's a big difference in the kind of propulsion, and you feel strange to be jogging in fast shoes, then yeah, sure, just switch to your kind of everyday shoes and then switch into the faster shoes in order to do the session. That makes total sense. The watch is ready, so the watch is fully charged, and this gives me loads of data. Yeah, so this heart rate monitor, the red heart rate monitor from Garmin, will give me ground contact time. It will give me my stride length. It will give me my cadence, and that is the main stuff that I look at. It also gives you your left and right if there's any imbalances, which can be super useful if you keep a track of that, to look if you're kind of favoring one side. If I'm favoring my right, there's obviously something going on somewhere in my body, and you can kind of go to a sports therapist or a physiotherapist and get them to figure that out for you and help you with it. Next, super important, and a lot of people I've kind of been at training camps, and a lot of people kind of forget this, and then they're fumbling around in the morning. My nutrition has to be the same on this day, on the midweek interval session and the weekend long run. It's got to be the same as a race day. This is my opportunity to practice my race day nutrition. So to get my stomach and metabolism and get the right foods transferred into energy and to the muscles in order for me to perform as well as possible. And I guess a lot of people forget that and then get towards race day and then remember it and then have stomach problems and stuff like that. I don't have stomach problems. So this morning I've had 4 bananas just blended in water, and that's a shake. That was about 30 minutes ago. By the time I get to the gym, it's going to be about 45 minutes. By the time I've done the interval session, that will be the warm up, that will be about an hour. So then I'm starting the interval session, and it's been an hour before I've had those bananas. Then I've got to practice my nutrition that I'm going to be using in the race in the key session. So it's important because you can practice it a lot on the long run, and you can practice it in the speed session. So you really want your stomach to get used to taking lots of nutrition over long periods of time, and also taking it on board whilst you're running fast. So the perfect time to do that for me is on a treadmill or an interval session outside, where I'm running fast and my stomach is just getting used to taking that in and then putting it to the right places so my muscles can use it as energy. That's simple. So I've just got a gel as backup, and then there's a Morton 500ml 320 mix, which is 80 grams of carbohydrate. And I want to be taking 80 grams of carbohydrate throughout the hour. Now this session is a shorter session, so it's much more to do with speed work. It's 15 times 2 minutes uphill, up a gradient. And this is the next point. You need to know exactly what you're doing that session. So you wake up, hopefully fully rested. So really the preparation started the day before getting your stuff ready, but then have a great sleep if you can. Get yourself as prepared as possible for the session, but know what you're about to do. So I know what I'm about to do. 15 times 2 minutes with 30 seconds in between. Rest, so I'm bringing my heart rate down and then going again. So there's not a lot of rest in between that. And then whilst I'm warming up, I know what I'm about to do, so I'm kind of visualizing what the session feels like. And in my head, I kind of split those 15 times 2 minutes up into 5 minutes, five intervals of 2 minutes. So 3 times 5 intervals of 2 minutes. There's no extra rest after the 5th and after the 10th. It just, psychologically, it helps me break it down. It's like just, you're running basically 10 minutes at a time. The full session, it's just 30 minutes of hard running, but it's gonna be fast and it's gonna be steep. So I need to, for me, this session is to get into the red zone, to get into zone 4 and hopefully zone 5, to really get the heart pumping and then push that 4th level up in the lactate threshold, which we'll come to and deep dive into in another video. So that's really important. The next thing is the warm up. We got to, I guess what I see from most people who are training is they kind of treat the warm up as you kind of warming up to do a run, and therefore their warm up for a regular easy run and an interval session and a long run doesn't really change. What's important for me is if we're doing 15 times 2 minutes today, or if you're doing 20 times 400 meters, or you're doing 6 times a kilometer, whatever it is, you want to be ready for those first 1 and 2 reps. You don't want to have those as your warm up. So you don't want to get to a point where first one was a bit clumsy, second one you started to get into your stride, third one you hit it. You're kind of getting shortchanged. You're kind of getting ripped off for your session there. You're only really doing 13 reps of 2 minutes when you should be doing 15 reps of 2 minutes. So the warm up for me will be about 15 minutes. First 300 to 400 meters, I'll just be walking. Then I'll run a kilometer super slow. Hold on. Cat's on top of the TV. I'll run a kilometer super slow, so that will be starting from about 6 minutes per kilometer pace, so really slow. And I guess that's just kind of like asking myself on the go, is my body ready? Is my body ready to go fast? And then I'm gradually increasing that pace. After that kilometer, I'll get off the treadmill, I'll do some dynamic stretching when my body's warmed up. So it's walked 300-400 meters, it's ran a kilometer, and then I'll do some dynamic stretching. I'll just make sure my calves are ready to do the session. It's a hill session, so the glutes are gonna be super important, even more important than a fast session on the flat. Hamstrings are super important, but also your quads are picking up your leg every single rep, every single rotation, right? So they've got to be warmed up, and your whole body's got to be warmed up. So there'll be a lot of kind of arm swings, and then I'll get back on the treadmill and I'll just gradually ramp up the gradient, ramp up the pace, so that the first and second intervals, they're not shocks to the body. I'm ready for it, and I've already done the pace and the gradient that I want to do for about a minute to a minute and a half before I've even started the session. So those are the 5 things that you need to do, or that I do religiously, in order to put myself in the best possible shape, in the best possible position to get the most out of my key workout.